What if I told you that some of the most beloved animated movies ever made, films you watched as a child, were never actually about magic or adventure or growing up? They were about trauma, not metaphorically, not loosely. Literally, clinically, deliberately written to depict what it feels like when the human mind is shattered and has to rebuild itself. The directors knew exactly what they were making. The studios just never told you. These are 5 animated movies that are actually about trauma. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Film 5, Spirited Away, 2001. Most people think Spirited Away is a fantasy adventure about a girl trying to rescue her parents. It is. But Hayao Miyazaki has been remarkably direct about what it's also about. The film was specifically written for 10-year-old girls entering a new, confusing, adult world for the first time. A world where the rules are different, where nobody explains anything, where you have to work to survive, and where the adults around you have already been consumed by it. Chihiro's parents turn into pigs. Think about what that means. One day, the people who were supposed to protect you, who you depended on, completely stop being who they were. And suddenly you're alone in a world you weren't prepared for. Yubaba steals Chihiro's name. In trauma psychology, this is called identity erosion. The feeling that whoever you were before the event is gone, and you have to claw it back piece by piece. Spirited Away is about a child learning to survive in an adult world she never asked to enter. That's not a metaphor. That's the film. Film 4, Coraline, 2009. Coraline on the surface is a horror fantasy about a girl who discovers a secret door to a perfect parallel world that turns out to be a trap, but the psychological reading of this film is deeply specific. Coraline's real parents are neglectful, not abusive, neglectful. They're present but absent, physically there, emotionally elsewhere. Coraline is lonely in a way that's invisible to everyone around her. The other world represents what psychologists call fantasy bonding, a coping mechanism where a child creates an idealized version of their family in their mind, because the real one is too painful to fully accept. The other mother starts perfect, warm, attentive, creative, and slowly reveals herself as a predator, because idealization always collapses. And when it does in real life and in Coraline's story, the child is left more alone than before. The button eyes are the giveaway. Buttons don't see you. They look like they do, but they don't. That's what emotional neglect feels like from the inside. Film 3, Encanto, 2021. Encanto is about a multi-generational family carrying the weight of intergenerational trauma. Specifically, the trauma of displacement, survival, and the impossible pressure placed on descendants of survivors. Every character's gift is a manifestation of how that trauma shaped them. Lewis's super strength and her anxiety under its weight. Isabella's perfect flowers hiding thorns, literally. The miracle isn't magic. The miracle is the way trauma survivors build systems to cope, and how those systems eventually crack. Mirabelle has no gift. And within the family system, she's the one who can see what's actually happening because she's not performing a role. In family trauma literature, this character is called the identified patient, the one who breaks first because they're the most honest about the cracks everyone else is covering. Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. He was exiled for seeing a truth the family didn't want to face. Encanto is about what happens when an entire family builds its identity around surviving pain, and what it costs the next generation. Film 2, Princess Mononoke, 1997. Princess Mononoke is Miyazaki's most mature film, and it's built entirely around collective trauma and moral injury. San, raised by wolves, cannot exist in the human world. She has been so shaped by displacement and rejection that she can only survive in the wild. She is feral, not because she's dangerous, but because the human world made no space for her. This is abandonment trauma at its most extreme. And what's devastating is that San isn't wrong. The humans are destroying the forest. Her rage is proportionate. Ashitaka's curse is the other thread. He is literally being consumed by the anger of a creature that was driven mad by human violence. He carries someone else's trauma in his own body. That's not fantasy. That's what secondary trauma and inherited pain actually feel like. Mononoke has no happy ending because Miyazaki refuses to lie. Some wounds don't heal. Some damage is permanent. The best you can do is choose to keep living alongside it. Film 1 Soul 2020. Soul is about a specific kind of trauma that doesn't get talked about enough. The trauma of a life unlived. Joe Gardner has spent his entire existence chasing one dream. And when he finally almost gets it, he dies before it happens. When he returns to his life, he sees it with fresh eyes. And what he finds is devastating. He missed everything. The relationships, the quiet moments, the texture of ordinary days, all sacrificed at the altar of a single goal. This is what psychologists call existential grief. Mourning the life you didn't live while you were busy building the one you thought you wanted. What if achieving your dream doesn't fix the emptiness? What if the thing you've been running toward was never the point? Pixar made a children's film about the midlife crisis. And somehow, it worked. These films weren't made to traumatize you. They were made because the people who created them understood something that takes most adults years to learn. The things that hurt us don't disappear just because we stop looking at them. If this hit differently than you expected, subscribe. Because next week, we're going deeper.